Hello, thank you for joining me. So today we're going to be crafting a path opener spell oil. I thought I'd talk you through some of the principles of this magic, as well as talking about some of the herbs and crystals and the essential oils that you might like to use in creating your own blend. Path opener spell oil can be used as a magical aid for when you come to a certain crossroads in your life, or when you need to make big life-changing decisions, and also for clearing spiritual blockages and obstacles from your path as you journey towards your hopes, dreams and ambitions. Hello, I'm Bianca Kemp. Welcome to the Magical Herbalist YouTube channel. Here we craft with flowers, barks, herbs and resins so that we can create powerful and transformative spells and rituals all the year round while living sustainably and in sync with nature. If you're familiar with just a little bit of witchcraft and magic, you may have come across the famous road opener spell. The road opener spell comes from the African American hoodoo tradition. The road opener is very closely associated with the mythological crossroads and with crossroads magic. Now, the crossroads, or the cross in general, is a very powerful ancient symbol that can be found at the heart of all major world religions. The cross seems to symbolize the transitions between life and rebirth and resurrection, and also change and transformation, be it of an internal nature and also external in the natural world around us. A well-known example of crossroads magic and mythology can be found in the ancient Greek religion, with the goddess Hecate, who stands as a guardian at the crossroads between life, death and rebirth, and also good and evil. She is typically a figure which represents inner change and transformation on a very primal level. We find another example of crossroads magic with the famous blues guitarist Robert Johnson, who famously sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads in return for his mean guitar playing skills. This theme of making a pact with the devil or some kind of dark or trickster entity is also found in the fairy folklore of Celtic Britain. So in the fairy magic tradition, a pact will generally be made with these trickster-like or dark spiritual entities, where they will keep part of you, part of your soul, or you will pledge something to them in return for some kind of a supernatural power or an unnatural talent, such as witchcraft, second sight or clairvoyancy. So with this spell oil, I'm going to show you how you can work crossroads and transformation magic, albeit without having to summon ancient and distant spirits at crossroads, but instead we're going to use the astrological or planetary energies to create a general gold standard of path opening oil. Consider this a modern and universalized rendition of the hoodoo road opening spell. I like to work with the 7 luminaries. These celestial bodies are observable to all of us anywhere on the planet. They are energetic bodies that unite us under very similar principles, and something that we can all work with regardless of our culture or background. So for this spell oil, we are going to be harnessing the planetary energies of Jupiter and of Mars, and also of the new moon. When the planetary energies of Jupiter and Mars are in harmony, when they're advantageously aligned, they create a formidable energy for achievements and worldly success. So we're going to use magical herbalism to bring these two powerful planetary energies together and create a talismanic oil that we can activate at the new moon. As we're making this spell oil, we're going to be working with the powers of Mars to help us with determination, stamina, strength and courage, all the virtues that we need to diminish and overcome external obstacles and blockages in life. And we'll be working with the powers of Jupiter to help us to create our own luck in life and also to hone our own wisdom and intellect so that we can see opportunities where previously these might have been obscured to us. Now let's take a look at some of the materia of Mars. Now I have chosen some nettle, I think that is there, also some yellow dock root, and the flower and leaf of dandelion. Now I've chosen these three herbs to represent Mars within my spell oil because they're all very rich in iron content. Iron, of course, is very closely associated with the planet Mars. There's lots of iron on Mars. Of course, because iron is a vital mineral that we all need to keep us alive. It helps us to create red blood cells. It gives us strength and alertness and vitality. These herbs I've chosen for that purpose because for me they best represent these Martian qualities. To add to these Martian herbs, I want to introduce some heat and fire. So for that, I'm going to use some ginger root. So I want to incorporate some warmth and passion in this mix. So I'm going to add some cinnamon sticks. Let's have a look at some of the Jupiter herbs that I've chosen. I definitely want to add sage. Sage to me represents some of the best Jovian qualities. It's very good for the mind and strengthening the memory. And I really do appreciate any herb that is good for enhancing wisdom and intellect. Now I also want to include some lucky vervain. For me, vervain is a herb of luck and opportunity, and it's a traveler's herb as well. Jupiter is associated with travel and creating opportunities and meeting with good luck on your path. Some other spices that you might wish to incorporate are clove, star anise, maybe some dried lemon or some fennel seeds. Now you may feel inspired to use some other herbs in your blend, and that's perfectly okay. Other herbs you may wish to include are betony, wood betony, which is associated with Jupiter and luck, lucky clover, if you've ever found a four-leaf clover. Other herbs which have a Mars-like quality to them may be peppery, pungent or spicy, dark leafy green and rich in iron content, such as rocket, the type of salad rocket that we use in pesto. You could use hairy bittercress, for example, which is a purgative. It grows very profusely. I often find it growing out of concrete, which just shows what strength and determination it has. Now you'll want to bring together those herbs which blend the Mars qualities and the Jupiter qualities. So for Jupiter, again, this is about fortune, good luck, and especially travel, because of course this is magic of change and transformation and movement and mutability. Mars herbs are those which heat up, quicken and stimulate rather than cool down and staunch or stagnate. Okay, so now we've spoken about some of the herbs that you can use. I'll just put these to one side and we'll look at some crystals, stones and minerals that you also might like to incorporate into a path opener spell oil. We'll begin with Mars. Now Mars is a fascinating planet. We know a lot about the minerals and rocks that are up there. Mars is abundant in ironstone, magnetite and hematite, which of course are used here on Earth in crystal healing. So if you wanted to use some magnetite or hematite, you could possibly find some of these stones at your local crystal shop. Ironstone is a sedimentary rock usually found in certain cliffs and areas which you may come across. As well as iron-rich minerals, you could also use crystals which are associated with Mars through the colour red. We have here some what are called blood garnets. So these are quite beautiful, deep red coloured, like globules of blood. Garnet represents passion and perseverance and persuasion, also courage and passionate love. You might like to use some red jasper. This is a very popular grounding stone. It has this beautiful, rich red earthy colour, just like Mars. It's a great stone for personal empowerment, for strengthening your resolve, and really for knowing what you're doing and where you're going. Now, if you're looking for a Jovian crystal, one associated with the virtues and qualities of Jupiter, then look no further than purple amethyst. Amethyst is a beautiful, powerful stone. It's associated with intellect and wisdom. Other Jupiter stones you might want to use are perhaps sodalite, azurite, or even green malachite. So this combination of blue, dark purple and dark green are all very good for stimulating our intellectual powers and abilities, and also for wisdom and insight. Now, another fascinating stone that you might like to consider in a path opener oil would be this volcanic rock. These are formed by molten lava, which of course, when the volcano erupts, it gushes out this hot lava, which creates this very forceful pathway as it flows forward. When the rock hardens and dries, it forms this pumice stone. I often find these on the beach, so if you're out on the beach and you come across any of these black pitted, very lightweight rocks, then do take them home and dry them out and collect them, because they can be very useful in your path opening magic. So now we've looked at some of the herbs and crystals that you might like to use. Let's talk about essential oils and blending a fragrance for a path opener oil. The best way to begin is to think about the energies and the virtues of Mars, and think about how that would translate into a scent or a perfume. What would a Mars perfume smell like? I think warm, hot maybe, pungent, spicy and empowering. Now, the essential oils that I have chosen to represent Mars in my blend will be ginger and turmeric, also black pepper and cinnamon bark. Now, let's think about Jupiter. What would a scent inspired by the Jupiterian virtues of luck and opportunity and the mind, wisdom and intellect, what would that smell like? I think it would be herbaceous. So for Jupiter, I have chosen a camphor oil. I would have used sage, but I don't have any sage oil at the moment, but camphor will do. I've also chosen clove bud as well, because I think it sits somewhere in between Mars and Jupiter. And lastly, for Jupiter, I've chosen clary sage. I grow clary sage in my garden, and it's a very beautiful, deep, rich purple flower that has a lovely floral and herbaceous scent. Without a doubt, clary sage for me carries a very Jovian energy to it. As a rule of thumb, when you're blending a fragrance for a spell oil, you'll want to use at least 3 oils so you can get a nice complex fragrance. One should represent a top note, one should be a middle note, and the last one should be a base note. So base note fragrances are earthy, warming and spicy, such as sandalwood, vetiver, possibly ginger or turmeric, cinnamon bark. The base notes tend to linger the longest, while the top notes are quite fleeting. If you open a perfume oil fresh, the first thing that should hit you is the top note. And when you rub it on your skin, you'll be delighted by the fresh top note scent. But after a while, this will have gone, and what you'll be left with is the earthy, bassy tone. Middle notes tend to be your more camphor and leafy fragrances, sage or rosemary, for example, or thyme. You would use these oils as a binder to harmonize the base note and the top note. The top notes are generally florals and citrusy. These fragrances tend to have a very ephemeral quality to them. They're very attractive, they're the first you will detect in a fragrance, but they'll also be the first to leave. Examples of top note fragrances could be lemon verbena, which is citrusy and light, jasmine, which is a very delicate floral, and also violet, which again is delicate floral. Looking at the essential oils I've collected, I can already tell that my blend is going to be quite heavy. Now, I would consider these Jupiter fragrances to be herbaceous and therefore middle notes. I'm going to incorporate a top note fragrance into this blend to make it more pleasant. So rather than floral, because we've got quite spicy and herby here, I'm going to go for a citrus, and I'm going to be using lemon verbena, because lemon blends very well with ginger and turmeric. It also harmonizes well with cinnamon, with black pepper. Lemon and camphor works well. Lemon and clove is all right, as long as you're not too heavy on the clove. And clary sage, I think these two will get on just fine. I've chosen quite a few essential oils here, but that's really because I just wanted to give you an idea of how I would select essential oils to blend according to these planetary energies that I want to invoke. Of course, there's no reason why your blend has to be so complex. You can just choose 3 essential oils, but I do recommend choosing a top note, a base note, and a mid note to bring them together. Now we've looked at how you might go about selecting essential oils to create your path opener blend. I'm just going to put these to one side and we'll talk about how to assemble your oil. So you're going to need a good carrier oil. I'm just using here some, this is sweet almond, which is very accessible and versatile. It doesn't have much scent to it. The only problem with it, it has this yellowy colour, but I don't really mind because I'm going to be using lemon, ginger and turmeric in this anyway, which will turn any oil a yellow colour. Clearer oils would come from seeds, such as a hemp seed oil, which I like to use. Even apricot kernel oil is a little more translucent than the sweet almond. Jojoba oil as well is a popular one to use, and if you don't have any of the traditional essential oil carrier oils, you can just use an olive oil from your kitchen cupboard. Of course, the olive oil has a deep green colour, but I also think that that could work quite well for a path opener oil because olive has and the deep green has a nice Jupiterian quality to it. If you want to use olive oil, then go ahead. But do keep in mind that that olivey scent will carry into your oil, but that's okay. All right, so you're going to want a sterile bottle. This one's 30 ml. Sometimes I'll use a 15 ml bottle. For best practice, make sure that your glass bottle is sterile, it's completely dry, and also that it has a well-fitting lid, an airtight lid. Now, when I'm making magical oils for my shop Berggruen, I generally make a plant oil infusion first. I'll strain that off and then I'll add an essential oil blend, and into these little bottles I'll build a small herbarium with my materia, and then I'll add this strained and scented blend to the bottle. So it's very, very strong and potent in the energies that I require. Now, if you're just doing one for yourself, I don't think that's really necessary because you are going to end up with quite a lot of leftover oil. And it uses quite a lot of herbs as well. So if it's just for personal use, or if you're gifting this to a friend, then there's absolutely no problem in just building it all up in the bottle to begin with. Now, just a quick word on building a very beautiful magical oil. I believe the more beautiful, colourful and vibrant the oil is, and the more potent it is, the more magical, powerful and transformative it will be. So we want our magical oils really to be as vibrant, attractive and enchanting as possible, so they can really get to work on all of your senses and your psyche. I'm going to be using cut herbs and dried plant materia only to build this bottle as a demonstration. But I recommend foraging for your materia that you're going to use, or using as much foraged and dried materia as possible. I would go and forage, for example, dandelion. I would like to put, and I would also forage for the nettle. I would like to have beautiful nettle seeds. I would like to see the nettle leaf with its jagged edges there and its hairs. I would also like to see a beautiful bright yellow dandelion flower and a bit of leaf in the bottle. I do think the aesthetics are very important when it comes to making a magical oil, because we really do want to be enchanted by the materials that we use. The reason I'm using dried herbs and not foraged is because it's still February and not a lot has come up yet, so I've yet to really go out and start foraging. So I'm just using the cut herb stock that I have for my teas. But I do recommend foraging as much local herbs and materials as you can, drying them out thoroughly and trying to keep those beautiful colours and structures intact when you make your path opener oil. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I blend an oil as a magical herbalist to the best of my ability. So I have my Mars herbs here, I have my ginger root, I have my cinnamon stick, and I've got my sage and my lucky vervain. To start building your oil, what you want to do is to get your herbs and start measuring them out according to the quantities of the virtues that you want to acquire or receive from your oil. You may want your oil to be heavier on the Jupiterian influences, for example, or you may wish for more of the Mars influence to come through in terms of fire, redness and pep. So it really is up to you and your intuition as to how you put this blend together. It does require a little bit of self-knowledge, how well you know yourself, your drives, and also the obstacles, which will determine what quantities that you really put into your blend. Okay, so I'm going to add these herbs now into the pestle and mortar, and then I'm going to grind them up, and as I'm doing so, I am going to be channeling my intentions and my spell into this blend before I add it to the bottle. I would like to get out of this path oil a little bit more luck and opportunity. A little pinch of sage, a few twigs of vervain, a little scoop of ginger root, a scoop of dandelion, a couple of pieces of yellow yellow dock root, and a good dash of nettle. So now I've got my herbs in there. I take my pestle and mortar and I grind them up, and I'm channeling my intentions and I'm casting my spell as I go. Okay, so these herbs are now ready to form the base of my oil, which will constitute the plant oil infusion. You can use a little funnel to add your herbs. In this case, I'm just going to use a little scoop. It's a bit messy, but hey ho. You want to fill up about 1/2 inch. If you're adding cloves or any seeds and spices, you may want to use a pair of tweezers. I absolutely love filling bottles with herbs and flowers and crystals. It really is just such a magical thing to do, especially when you're blending in your intentions and you're turning it into a magical spell that you can use to help yourself or to help a loved one. Okay, so I've got my base herbs in there now. I'm just going to add a stick of cinnamon in there. I really wish I had a beautiful dandelion flower and a baby leaf of nettle to go in here, but as soon as foraging season starts and I can get out, I'm going to go and get these ingredients, maybe some hairy bittercress as well, dry them out, and I'm going to create a few of these beautiful oils ritually, and I'll probably put them on Berggrun's shop. So now my bottle is ready for the crystals. I'm going to add some of this beautiful red jasper, So I'm just going to take a few pieces here, using my tweezers, just select the nicest bits that come to my eye. I'm going to go for some of these blood garnets, which are just absolutely gorgeous for passion and desire and drive. And I'll go with a few of these beautiful amethyst crystals. So I've got 3 of those. They're quite large, nice deep rich purple ones. The herbs and the crystals are now in my bottle and they're ready and waiting for the oil blend. And this is the messy part. So I'll just put these to one side. Now I'm going to put my scent together. So I'm going to use, I was having a little practice earlier and it's all messy. Okay, so I'm going to use a beaker because you can put your measurements in. So this is a 30 ml bottle, but once you've already stacked it up with herbs and crystals, you're going to reduce the volume that the bottle can hold. Now, when blending a fragrance for a spell oil, you want to use a 1:6 ratio. So that's 1 part essential oil blend to 6 parts of the carrier oil. So a 1:6 ratio would translate as 60 ml of the carrier oil, and you would then want 10 ml for your 1 part of the essential oil blend. This is a 30 ml bottle, so I'm going to want 5 ml of essential oil blend to 30 ml of the carrier oil. You want to measure out in a beaker 30 ml. I'm going to put a little bit less though, really 25 ml, because 5 of that's going to be essential oils. When you're blending with essential oils, you want to build it up from the bottom. You'll want to put your base fragrances in first, and then your mid and then your top notes on afterwards, and then get it into the bottle as soon as possible, so not to lose any of that fragrance to the atmosphere. I'm going to start with my ginger and turmeric. Now, if you're using turmeric, it's very messy and it stains yellow, so just be aware. Very viscous as well. Some base essential oils are quite viscous and thick. So that's 5 drops of turmeric. Ginger is very potent, so I'm just going to go for 1 or 2 drops. Then I'm going to go for 1 drop only of black pepper, because like the ginger, it's very overpowering and not that pleasant. Well, that was 2 drops, so there we go. Cinnamon bark, I'll have about the same as the turmeric, I think, so a good 5 drops of cinnamon bark. 2, 3, 4, 5. God. There we are. If you're using cinnamon bark essential oil, do be really careful not to get this on your face or your skin, because it will burn without a carrier oil. It's quite unpleasant. I do it quite a lot. Okay, so I've got my base oils in there. I'm going to put some clove bud oil in next. Again, like the cinnamon bark oil, this too will give you a bit of heat or a bit of burning to the skin, but not as bad as the cinnamon. 4, 5. That's 5 drops of the clove bud. Now I'm going to add my my camphor and my clary sage, which are the mid notes. I'm going to go for about 7 to 8 drops of the camphor oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll go for about the same again with the clary sage. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to give that a stir. You see that beautiful yellow colour coming through from the turmeric there. That's really nice. It's already very balanced, but could really do with some lifting. So now I'm going to add the lemon verbena, and to this I'm going to add about 10 to 12 drops, just to really heighten it and lift it, lift the fragrance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 that was. Okay, let's just test that and see how that smells. Do you know what? That's perfect. So I've got the slight ginger and pepper coming through, the lemon, and it's got this, oh, it's wonderful. I wish you could smell this. Okay, so I've given you my formula anyway. So if you've got these essential oils, or if you can get these essential oils, then I totally recommend this blend for a path opener oil. It's uplifting, it's warming from the turmeric and the clove. And it also, it has this a kind of citrus clarity. You can feel that cut through energy, if that makes sense. Clear away obstacles, you know, to cut through the noise. I'm definitely getting that vibe from this scent. So I'm really happy with this. I'm not going to add any more to it. I'm going to add it straight to my bottle, put the lid on and give it a good shake. How beautiful is that? So there I have my path opener oil. It's just using cut herbs. It's not as botanical and as enchanting as I'd like it to be, but it's okay. It will work perfectly well. It's got all the energies there, and yeah, I'm very pleased with it. So it's a good first start, and I hope it's inspired you too. So with the first shake, you'll also be wanting to add your energy to it, your prayers, wishes and intentions. At this point, you'll be feeling very positive and really good because you've just created something in a very beautiful way. So here's how it's looking. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the yellow coming through. And you can see the beautiful crystals at the bottom there, all charging and macerating with the herbs. So there's a lot of positive energy in this little bottle. I would leave this to macerate for a good full moon before using it. If you create it around the time of the full moon, you might want to leave it for a good 2 weeks on your altar, just charging and giving it your positive energy and building up your enthusiasm and anticipation, so that you can open it up on the new moon and do your first path opener ritual. You can use this oil to anoint your body, while you're manifesting, for example. Any manifestation rituals, any candles, you definitely want to be anointing it with your path opener oil. You can just use it as a perfume oil, as a magical oil, in as many creative ways as you know how to use magical oil. So now we've crafted what we could call a universal gold standard. Now, depending on how well you know yourself and your specific obstacles, once you know the principles of magically crafting the Path Opener spell oil, you may wish to tailor the materia to suit your own intentions and to solve your problems. This means that the ingredients you use will depend on the problems that you need to solve and the types of blockages that you personally need to remove. Now, we all know that Robert Johnson actually sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads in order to acquire his phenomenal guitar playing skills. But what if you already have a talent? You have a really good talent, you know, but you just, you're shy and you're a bit reticent when it comes to telling the world about it and feeling really good about what you can contribute and achieve in your life. Now, in this case, you may wish to draw down the powers of the sun for passion and for charisma, and to feel good about really shining and sharing your talents with the world. You may wish to draw down the powers of Mercury for fast communication and networking. So in this instance, the blockage to be cleared is internal and requires a degree of self-transformation. And this is where your Path Opener spell and your spell oil can really work as an aid. Of course, not all obstacles are internal, there are many external challenges and obstacles to do with time and place, luck and situation. But we can still use magic to help us to overpower and diminish these blockages and obstacles over time. In this case, we may like to use the powers of Mars and Jupiter for strength and resilience, focus, determination, opportunity and luck. As these energies accumulate in our life and we become stronger and wiser, we may find that the obstacles and blockages start to magically shrink and diminish around us as we come into our power. So a really effective path opener oil and spell will be informed by your degree of self-knowledge and understanding of your unique situation and how you can use magic to help you achieve what you really want and deserve in life.